Good morning, students. This is the second section of our notes on Islam. Let's begin. The Muslim law, under the Muslim law, we have the word Quran, which most of you already know from the videos that we've watched. That is the holy book for Muslims. So you need to identify the term Quran, holy book for Muslims. As you can see right here, a copy of the Quran. The Quran reads from right to left, not left to right like English translations. So they actually read backwards in comparison to the English books. You also have the term mosque, and mosque is the Islamic house of worship. Make sure to write that down. The Islamic house of worship, as you can see with the picture right here, the mosques do not have crosses on them, as they do believe in Jesus, but they do not believe that Jesus died and rose again and was God. They believe in the Prophet Muhammad, that he and Jesus both ascended, not that either of them died for our sins. As you can see, they do have a crescent moon at the top of their mosques, not a cross. So anytime that you see a religious building that has a crescent moon on top of it, that would be a mosque. Under Muslim law, we also have the Sunnah, which is also known as the Hadith. You don't need to write that down, that's italicized. The Sunnah is the model for proper living under Muslim law. You also have Sharia law, which is the body of law that encompasses the Quran and the Sunnah. So as you see right here, the Sunnah is the model for proper living. As you remember, the Quran is simply more poetic, and the words of God, the Sunnah, is more of the model for proper living. The Sharia law encompasses both the Quran and the Sunnah, though you don't need to write that down. The system of law that regulates the family life, moral conduct, and business, and the community life for Muslims. Right here, you can see the law is very important for them to follow and to obey. Such things as marriage ceremonies, such things as abstaining from alcohol. Keep in mind that Muslims do not drink alcohol. They believe that alcohol is a sin to drink, whereas Christians view alcohol as an opportunity to just not to take too much of. The Christians see the sin of drunkenness as a problem, whereas the Muslims see any type of partaking of alcohol as a problem. Next, we have the Khalif. The Khalif means successor. It's basically the elected leader. It's like a president, or it's like the Pope. So the Khalif is the elected leader for all Muslims. As you can see, this is a lot of power and very important, and later on we'll see how this will create problems. The Quran and Muhammad's actions are the guides for the Khalif, so the Khalif does have to abide by the Quran and Muhammad's actions to lead appropriately. They can't just do whatever they want. They also mobilize the armies and are willing to fight other weaker empires. So the Khalif is not just a leader, but they're also a military leader. They're not just there to act as a president, but also as a commander-in-chief. So the Khalif also goes out to war when that is seen necessary. But as you see right here, the Khalif cannot just do whatever they want. They actually do have to listen to the Quran and Muhammad's actions, and that's kind of what keeps them in line. Kind of like the president today has to listen to the Constitution, has to listen to the Congress. So it's kind of a checks and balances there. After Muhammad's death in 632, 4 caliphs that knew Muhammad personally would rule in succession. So we have a time of peace where there's no internal fighting. However, when the third caliph is murdered, we start to have a problem. So the first 2 caliphs have a time of peace, but the third caliph ends up getting murdered, and that strikes a civil war. Anytime that a leader is murdered, oftentimes strife arises. Then, a few years later, about 5 years later, Ali, the 4th successor, the 4th of the caliphs, he would be assassinated as well. And that actually ushers in the Umayyad dynasty. We're going to have two dynasties that we're going to be looking at, the Umayyads and the Abbasids. The Umayyads, they're going to take control and end this elective system of choosing caliphs, and they are going to be a dynasty themselves where they choose a line of succession from son or father to son and such, who is going to be the leader. The Shias, or the Shiites as they're pronounced, are going to protest this. You don't need to write that down or know that, but the caliphs are going to be elected by the Umayyads, and the Shiites, the Shias, are going to want the caliphs to be direct descendants of Muhammad, which the Umayyads are not going to agree with. So under the Umayyad dynasty, we have changes that happen. They're going to move the capital to Damascus. As you can see on the picture right here, they're going to move it from Mecca to Damascus. As you can see, it's more centrally located. So it's more for political reasons. As you can see right here, the Umayyads, they're going to be a lot more political. They're not going to be as religious as other groups. They're going to be more of the Sunni, if you will, whereas the Shiites are a little bit more dogmatic and religious. They're going to focus on wealth. They're going to focus on rejecting the simple life. The downfall, they're not going to be as religious, and so there's going to be a lot of religious opposition and political opposition that's going to happen. And that ushers in the Abbasid dynasty. The Abbasid dynasty, they're going to move the capital back to more Muslim-controlled area, more of a heartland of Islam, over to Baghdad. So they're not going to move it back to Mecca, but they're going to move it to Baghdad, which is in present-day Iraq. They are going to focus on taxation and trade, but the real problem with the Abbasids is that they fail to keep complete control politically in their regions. So the Abbasids are a little bit more religious, and so they focus less on political unity and such. The Muslim Golden Age is going to be ushered in during the Abbasid dynasty, and this Golden Age right here, we have science and the arts. We watched in the video, and also 10.3, we looked at the different contributions of the Muslims. Keep in mind that you will be needing to do a poster on the contributions of the Muslims. The House of Wisdom, that was the scholars from all backgrounds. Didn't matter what faith you were, to come, and they explored different sciences and mathematics and philosophy side by side. During this Muslim Golden Age, trade is going to extend from the Mediterranean all the way to the Indian Ocean. So the vast trade network is going to connect the empire and make this time period a Golden Age. Unfortunately, the Abbasids are going to ruthlessly take down and murder all the Umayyads. So as you can see right here, there is not a lot of unity within Muslims right here, and that's going to usher down through the ages. You can think of this as the Abbasids are kind of like Iran, and the Umayyads are kind of like Iraq. So you kind of have this internal fighting that happens between the two. And so as a result of this, one of the Umayyad leaders, he's going to escape to Spain. And this creates the place called Al-Andalus, which is the Muslim state in Spain under the Umayyads. Fatmid was Muhammad's daughter, and so some Shiite Muslims are going to claim that the caliphs, the rulers, should come from Fatmid, Muhammad's daughter. So as you can see right here, there's going to be a lot of internal fighting during the Abbasids, not just during the Umayyads. The Umayyads is going to be fighting, and then also during the Abbasids. As you can see right here, Sunni and Shiite are two different religious groups. The Sunni, they believe that the first four caliphs should come from the rightly guided one. That is Muhammad's examples. They believe that basically more democratic. The Shiites, or the Shia, they believe that it should be bloodline. Go ahead and write this down. Sunni, the branch of Islam, whose members believe that the first four caliphs should be the rightly successors of Muhammad. So basically, it's this kind of a democratic election, if you will. The Shias are more of a branch of Islam whose members believe Ali and his descendants are the rightful successors of Muhammad. They believe that it should be more of a bloodline. And as you can see, 90% of the Muslims in the world are Sunni. They're kind of more political. They believe in more of elections, where the Shiites, they're a little bit more militant, and they only make up 10% of the world today. More of the jihadists that we see that blow up buildings and commit acts of terror are Shiites or Shia. As you can see right here, the map of the different areas. It's really Iran and then parts of Iraq that you have the Shiites there. So please do a review of the notes and a summary. Make sure you have the big ideas on the left-hand side and then a one-sentence summary at the very end. Thank you for taking these notes. Make sure to prepare for the quiz as well, as you will need to not only take the notes but also listen to what I've said, because that will be in the quiz. Thank you.